Hey, what's going on? So today I have a little bit of a twist of a video for you guys. I think most videos coming out right now are going to be strategies and plans. Instead, I want to kind of give you guys some guidance on how you can take a bunch of these strategy guides and a bunch of information that's out there and kind of make your own plan. Not doing too much effort, but being able to kind of customize it to how you want to take on leagues. So today I'm going to first quickly cover the mini spoiler that we got today, and then I'm going to kind of go into like how you can go about making your own plan. So in that we're going to talk about how much you should plan, where to start it from, things that are important around the early and mid game to keep in mind, and of course how to have a successful league start, right? And what information you should put into your plan so that way you can have a good league start. And then lastly, what does all those 3 or 4 things mean, and how do we put it all together into like a leagues kind of plan? Right? And then I'm going to have some useful resources, and I think my YouTube verification went through, so I should be able to include some links in my description. If not, I'll figure out a way to kind of tweet them or put them somewhere else so you can have access to them. But mainly, I'd recommend going to the League's Discord. A lot of good information there. So let's get right into it. So firstly, RuneScape posted a Twitter post or X post, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if Elon Musk will change it back or what's going to happen there. But nonetheless, we have the new and improved slightly, maybe, if you're an Orange fan, the new overlay for the tasks. But the most important thing is you can keep the task menu open while you're playing the game. I think that's huge, especially if you're like minigame mapping, just running through Lumbridge over to Drainer and you're not really paying attention to what's going around you. Maybe you're getting attacked by a mugger. Just be careful and watch out for those guys. But nonetheless, now you can just keep looking and reading through the tasks while you're in the game, and that's great, right? If you don't have a second monitor to keep the task menu open on the side and on the wiki page, this is going to be great for you. And then lastly, I also took some screenshots of the tasks that you could see during the video. I kind of stitched them together here if you wanted to pause and take a look at the tasks that we should have confirmed thus far. All right, so most importantly, how much should you plan? Now, this varies from person to person. Some people hate planning and strategizing. They're all about the journey and where it takes them, right? So they just want to kind of open up leagues and just pick random relics and pick random strategies and just go and have fun, right? And that's great. I think that's a great way to kind of go about having a creative space in the game. And some of you will want to have really detailed guides. I know there's tons of streamers and people who try to go for world records in the fastest, 99s or fastest max or whatever. And you guys have like real detailed step-by-step breakdowns and text documents of like, click here, go there, do this, XYZ, right? And then there's a bunch of us probably like me who are kind of in between there somewhere. And so you should just plan what makes you comfortable, right? Definitely remember to have fun. Otherwise, if you make this planning thing a whole like job, you're going to burn out, right? So be careful of that, and definitely leverage your fellow content creators and favorite YouTube streamer content creators and Twitch streamers. They're going to be providing and doing a lot of this homework for you, since it's part of their job and their career to kind of provide this content. So just use them as a resource, right? So you don't have to do too much heavy lifting yourself. I plan on doing the same thing. I'm making these videos just as hey, I'm doing this and you guys can follow along. But that's about it. Pretty low effort and energy here. So where do you start if you want to make a plan, right? So one, if you haven't watched my previous video, I talk about why you're playing leagues, and the why is going to kind of determine your goals, and then your goals are going to kind of hopefully determine everything else, right? So one of the goals that you might have is to get a Zerai crossbow. That means you need to kill Nex. You also need to kill Ziliana to get the Armadillo crossbow. You also need Asgarnia to get into the God of War's dungeons to kill these bosses, right? And then obviously you're going to need some gear and some levels to go kill these bosses, right? And so pretty much I've determined what my goal is and how I'm going to get there. There's a few things I kind of need to be able to successfully do that goal. And then you can do the same thing for whatever your goals are, right? I just threw in some examples here, but you can kind of do the same thing for yourself. And there's plenty of content creators who will hopefully have some similar goals to what you have, and then so you can kind of use their goals to kind of work backwards. So as I mentioned, getting the Zerai crossbow, I'm going to need to unlock Asgarnia to kill the gods, generals, right? So therefore, the goals that I have kind of determine my regions, right? For me, if you didn't watch my last video, I want to kill the God of War's dungeon generals. I want to learn Corrupted Gauntlet, and I want to get better at Toa. So that pretty much means I'm going to be unlocking Desert, Tyrion Wind, and Asgarnia. And from there, the next step is what is the gear and what is the content I'm going to kind of do, right? Huge shout out to Sean, who put this great one screenshot picture together of all the gears and the regions that it comes from. All those gears will be coming from raids or bosses that you're going to be killing, and different content, maybe some skilling content, right? So whatever that is, you follow this guide. I'll try to put a link in the description below, and you can be able to kind of figure out, hey, I'm going to pick these regions because these are my goals, and then these are all the gears I'm going to get, right? And then how are you going to get there, right? So we talked about being able to kill next. I'm going to need some of that early mid-game gear, right? So some example early game gears that you can get is Obsidian Armor. It's a melee strength set that you can get from Karamja. All you need is Tokol and killing those monsters over there. You can fletch and craft your gear pretty easily at pretty low levels. Black Dehide's a little bit further out. Also keep in mind you can use Implings and Clues to kind of get some of those gears early on as well. That's very helpful. We have Puro, so don't forget that. Also, some gears like Void, Infinity Robes, Barrows, depending on what regions you guys are unlocking, there are still some pretty easy to get gears. Hopefully we have boosted points. Well, they've confirmed they're going to boost the mini games. Just we don't know how good those boosts are yet, right? But hopefully they'll spoil them in the next 15 days before leagues. And also, you want to get some easy access to supplies. So food, you can just buy Krambons at Brynhaven. You don't even need to do the Taiwanite trio, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments below. But you can also just fish and cook a lot of things yourself. When you're playing the game, some of the tasks are going to be to catch some trout or salmon or a shark or swordfish. So just make sure to fish those things, cook them, bang them. And depending on the relics that you have, you might be able to instantly cook them or instantly bank them. And it should be pretty easy to collect a bunch of food. Potions and herb lore are a little bit tougher. I'm not going to go into that because it probably requires an entire video itself. But there's a great guide by Zigzag Ziggle called How the Heck Do I? And then there's an herb lore guide for it. It's on the Discord. I'll try to put a link in the description below, but definitely check that out. It's got a lot of good information for you to kind of figure out how you're going to get your strength pots and your defense pots if you need them. I don't know why you need defense pots in leagues, but who knows? Someone might want them. And of course, money. Money is going to be pretty important. Remember, one thing you can do is sell processed items. So if you cut a tree, just make sure to try to fletch it into an unstrung bow. Typically, I think those sell for more than just a log itself at a general store. So that's some way to get some quick early money. Also, pickpocketing. I know in the last Shattered Relics League, they had a bunch of good relics to double and quadruple your money. So again, if you got the Rogue's outfit, you got the relics, you were getting crazy amounts of money from pickpocketing Arty Knights, right? So that's one way to get money. And then for me, if you're like me and you're going to unlock the desert, you're going to be able to have access to the gem stalls, and then you can do the crazy gem hack where you can pretty much just nonstop buy all the uncut emeralds and just fill up your inventory, cut them all, sell them all back. I think it's 5 times as much money, and it's pretty much just infinite money and infinite crafting experience until you get tired from all the clicks. And then, of course, you want to unblock the early game, right? So this is where, following kind of those step-by-step strategies that people have. Only Trails has a great one that he used in Trailblazer League, and he's going to probably be revamping that for the Trailblazer Reloaded League. Also, you can also watch some other streamers, like Solo Mission has an entire series of his Trailblazer, the whole journey in Trailblazer. So you can pretty much just watch all the videos and take some notes. That's oh, he unlocked this, he went there, he did that, right? And that'll kind of give you that early game step-by-step strategy. And the summary videos are great because, they kind of summarize the entire 8 to 10 hours playtime of the day into a 15-minute synopsis video of that day recap. So that's probably a great way to kind of getting that day-to-day step-by-step strategy. That's what I'm going to be kind of doing. Also, I'm just going to be watching a bunch of content creators for those step-by-step guides because I'm pretty new myself. So that's why I said this is a guide for us trying to figure out what we want to do, right? And most importantly, remember, tasks are your best friend. I personally hate quests, but tasks get you those unlocks. They get you the better relics and regions. They get you pretty much everything you're going to need to get into a much easier gameplay, right? Every tier that you unlock, you're going to get, more, better something, right? Drops, XP rates, or region unlocks, or, I don't know, minigame bonus points, customizing your Slayer tasks, whatever that is. And so how do we put this all together, right? So first of all, like we talked about it, I kind of started from the backwards and came to the front, but we're going to talk about like how this all kind of binds together. So remember, if you have all these 4 components put together of your plan, make sure, you have your league start plan. That'll kind of get you accelerated into the first few days of the league. From there, you're going to figure out what your early to mid game gears are. You're going to progress towards them. Once you have them, you can start jumping into your late game content. Full obsidian and a whip is probably strong enough to go melee bandos, especially if you're going to melee relic. And then once you kill bandos and you get the hilt and you get the gear, you're going to be in full bandos and you're going to have achieved your goals at the end of the league. So yeah, that's about it. How you can go about kind of making your own plan and strategy. Some things that I found helpful are definitely going to be the league Discord, the league wiki, and just watching a bunch of YouTube and Twitch, right? And I know this is like, hey, why am I watching a video to tell me to go watch more videos? But it's really what I'm trying to tell you here is, hey, if you don't want to follow others exactly the way you want, these are like the 4 pieces that you kind of need to kind of have a successful plan and make your own, right? That way you don't have to follow someone verbatim, and you can still have a very successful league play. So thanks for watching. I can't believe this is an 11-minute video. If you liked it, definitely give it a like. If you want to follow along in the rest of my journey, definitely subscribe. If you have any comment or feedbacks, definitely leave them here. And I really appreciate you spending 11 minutes with me. Thank you.